mind talking a little bit about who approached your company about this ride? Did Cedar Fair come to you? Did Cedar Point come to you? How did that all start?
Cedar Fair come to us. It started at Yapa, and they had the idea of putting a ride for Cedar Point, which would be by the beach, by the parking lot, and the main entrance. And the idea was from Walter Bolliger to put a wing coaster, which was something which would be a good layout for the park, which is a very attractive train and something very different for Cedar Point.
And do you have any specific stories about important moments during the design process where you realized this is going to work, this is going to be possible, or where someone had a brilliant idea to put into this ride?
I mean, I think the challenge we had, it was the size of the coaster and also the importance of having this ride right at the front of the gate. So the aesthetic was something which we had to thought about it deeply to find something which looks good. And the big challenge that Cedar Point put on us was 2 tower keyholes at the entrance with those big square structure. They really want to make a great impact with the train going through the hole, over to the entrance and back to the next tower. This was a challenge for the dynamic because we want something which are very smooth and with a nice twist on it, but also with the restriction of the towers and the geometry, it makes it difficult. But I think at the end result we got something very good and we are very happy of it.
And where did the idea for the Wing Rider coaster come from?
It's something which came up from discussion with different people from the industry, also from brainstorming from our company to make a train different, to have a new layout. I mean, we always were thinking why we should not sit on the wing of a plane, to have nothing above, nothing below us, to make a different experience. And the wing coaster came with those thought into it, and to make to something concrete, it took a few years of design, of sketches to come up with something like the Gatekeeper.
And obviously B&M has a reputation for having some of the most reliable rides. The parks know that they aren't really going to have a lot of downtime. How do you ensure that? How do you test the concept to make sure that it's going to work in practicality?
There's a lot of engineering work behind each coaster we do. So we consider a lot on design of the structure of the column, of the trains, all the fatigue resistance. We want every pieces to be strong enough and reliable. Maintenance is also something important for us, for the park, to have a minimum downtime. So we try to think of every pieces to be well thought about it, to have a long-lasting coaster, and that's what we try to aim for.
Are there any types of coasters that B&M might make for a while and then discontinue? For example, I don't believe you guys have done a stand-up coaster since 1999. Is that something that you aren't willing to do anymore and that's been retired? Or are you willing to make any kind of coaster that you've ever made for any client?
I mean, each parks are looking for new products. Of course, we have a series of products, like the stand-up coasters. I mean, some parks may come back to do this kind of coaster. We don't know, but it's true that now we have a good success with the wing coaster and the flying coaster, the dive coaster, the hyper coaster. This is something which really is a great success for our company.
Do you have any limits for how large or how fast or what you're willing to put into a coaster? Because a lot of people thought that you built mainly as big as a hypercoaster, and then you went and built Leviathan. That surprised a lot of people. Do you have any limits?
We don't have any limits. We're aiming to do a safe and fun ride. We're not aiming to do something extreme. We are aiming to the wish of what the park wants, and we want to make something safe and reliable. That's how it stands. So we see what will come next.
So if I owned a theme park and I wanted you to build a 500-foot roller coaster, would you do it?
I mean, we will thought about it. We will bring to the client what the risk, what he's aiming at, what challenges we have, and from there we'll see how we'll go. Probably we'll have issues to discuss about it. If it's really worth it to do such size, is it something really required for the park? Is it safe? There's a lot of questions like that. Of course, maybe cost issues.
Very fascinating, because I know a lot of people wonder about that side of the design business. How high were the stakes for Gatekeeper? What's the risk involved in a project like this?
We minimize the risk. Of course, everything is thought that there won't be any incidents. This is very important for Cedar Point and for our company to make something reliable. So the risk has been, as we do for other courses, minimum.
And as a designer, would you mind talking about how exact do the design specifications have to be for a ride like this? Because I know they've certainly gotten a lot more precise as new technologies come out and new ways of using CAD or computer-aided technology.
I think nowadays we have a lot of codes which exist. It became something which has been more known to other engineers, because you have different norms and acceleration documents, and you try to follow up all this design. You also have verification for internally from our company and from others to make such rides. That's how we construct nowadays.
How is this ride different from previous wing coasters that you've done?
The main difference is the length and the number of inversions, as well as having the ride right at the front of the main entrance with the keyholes, which makes it unique. It's really an icon for Cedar Point, so it makes it very different for us and a great challenge, and just fantastic to see it running today, just great.
Definitely. Tell me a little bit about your first experience riding it after all the work.
It's fantastic, first of all, to see all the people smiling and being happy riding on it. That's a great satisfaction for our team, for Cedar Point, after so much effort. Riding on it, of course, it's a summum. It's just fantastic, especially the first drop with the spin right at the top, and diving through. It's just amazing, and also it's going through the keyholes and twisting around through the ride with the speed and acceleration is just amazing. It's a great ride.
Excellent. Now, just on the business side of things, going back to that for a minute, does B&M usually sign long-term contracts with the park? Like if I had a theme park, would I typically sign for 1 or 2 or 3 coasters long-term, or would it just be coming to you one project at a time? How does that work?
It's one project at a time. And generally the parks come up with an idea how much he would like to spend, or this place he has on the park, what's his idea of a type of coaster, of what he's looking for, and B&M will come up with different alternatives, suggestions. Like here, typically we come up with a wing coaster with something quite new, and with different communication between the park and us, we come up with an attractive solution, and so we do it one by one. There's nothing done for long term.
Okay. And now, if I own a theme park and I wanted to have the only wing coaster in a certain part of the country, could I pay more so that you wouldn't build any other wing coasters, or do you not do that?
There's some restriction limit we can do, depending. Most likely is linked with the distance within the park, like 200 miles or 300 miles from the park. We might do this kind of restriction. This is discussion we have between the park and ourselves during the contract.
Very, very fascinating. Being a business owner, I'm really interested in the business side of things along with the design. And now just talking about one of your other types of projects, I know that you're working on trains, or you already built trains for Steel Dragon 2000. Is that something that B&M regularly does, or will do in the future, or is that just once in a while? I know that you're building custom trains for Steel Dragon over in Cedar. Is that something that you regularly do, or is that a very unique type of project that you wouldn't normally do?
Normally we don't do this kind of services. This is discussion we have between the park and ourselves if we'll do it or not, if it's really something they need. I mean, it's depending of what's coming up, but it's not something we generally do.
Okay, very interesting. And do you have any questions?
You guys have covered a lot of awesome stuff. Yeah.
Just see if I missed anything. Of course. The restraints. Can you talk a little bit about why they're different from other sit-down B&M coasters like Raptor, for example, or other floorless coasters? Why did you redesign the restraints?
We want to make a restraint which is as free as possible when we are hanging on it. And the idea was to have a vest, which is like a backpack. To have something which is comfortable to have it, but also something safe. And we thought that instead of having a rigid restraint system as Raptor, we were developing a system which is more closer to our body, which will fit anybody's. And we found that something which would be safe, comfortable, and I think we made something which makes it attractive to people, for riders. I don't know how you think about it, but we found it's very comfortable to ride it if you feel good.
And is there anything we didn't mention that you want to add?
No, I think the Gatekeeper is something which has been a great success because of Cedar Point, which was a great team to work with. So without them, we wouldn't have that today, and we're proud to work with this park.
Excellent. Thank you so much.